Oh, we're away. Right. Welcome to St Peter's Church, Redisham, in Suffolk. We're sort of about halfway between Halesworth and the Back and Beyond and Blythburgh and places like that. We are really in the middle of nowhere here. And Mel was with me. Mel was filming today.
No, not for much longer because you've got to steady your hand. But look at this.
This is gorgeous, isn't it?
It hasn't got a tower. When did it collapse, Paul?
19th century, mid-19th century, the tower fell down.
Yeah, so we've just got that tiny little thing there.
A little thing with a weathercock on top of it.
Yeah, and you can see it's got a wall tie there. And there's a tiny little lancet window over there.
But this is a church that still used. We spoke to the Reverend Phil earlier.
Yeah.
And
he's also the Reverend of, what was that one? Westhall.
Westhall, that's where we started off today.
Yeah. So we've done Westhall, Paul's done Brampton, and this is Redisham. Yeah. I can't remember a thing today.
Because you're being eaten to death like I am from insects. That's why they never rebuilt the tower, you know, because every time they went to come and do it, something was chomping away at them.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a walk round of the church on the outside because
I probably wouldn't.
No, it's
a shame because it's a little charm.
We have not been in here, so
look at that doorway.
I know.
That's just, we weren't ready for that.
Norman doorway. So this must have been the original entrance point for the church.
So that's 11th or 12th century at most.
Yeah. Now you think...
How many people?
But you think... who done this? Who carved it? Amazing.
Probably French. Right. That is all. I wasn't ready for that. There's nothing in the blurb about it.
I do like to surprise, don't I?
You surprised me.
Right. So, like I say, we've not been in this church before. So you're going to come in with it. That doorway's a bit low.
That is a bit. Well, the people were small.
I can smell something burning.
Yeah, I can for a bonfire or something.
It's not that sort of burning. Right, and this is it. I'm now going to pass the camera to Paul.
So you can read.
Yes.
Right, let's have a look. Whoa! Oh, this is amazing. It's tiny. I reckon it's what, 10, 20?
It's tiny.
It's about 35, 40 feet at most by perhaps 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Look how the walls are built. It is colossal at the bottom.
Yeah.
And goes up because it's only made out of flint and rubble.
Well, a lot of it is septaria. Now, we've been to churches before where there's been septaria.
Yeah.
Like Shotley.
Shotley had septaria, yeah.
That was septaria. But unfortunately, septaria is not a stone or building material that is strong enough to withstand the weather that we have in this country. And why is this carpet spongy?
It's got underlay under it. I can see it. Look. We'll have that.
I'll tell you what, if you're riding stilettos, you want to walk on that.
Cool. Or even a groom wanting to make a quick escape. Right. We are it. Oh, look. St Peter's Church. Isn't that beautiful? Look. It's charming. I mean, the window's 19th century, but look at that. Oh, very old casino. Yes. I mean, it's tiny. It's a little teeny chapel.
We never saw the scratch tiles that are on the door.
We'll get them on the way out.
That would have been evidence that churches in the early days didn't have porches because the scratch tiles are not there to tell the time necessarily. It's also to mark periods within the church calendar.
Yeah.
So people would have a look and go, oh, well, the sun is here, there, and everywhere, and we now know that we've got Easter coming or something.
It's gorgeous. I mean, as we say, the tower collapsed in the 19th century.
Yeah.
But it's just a little, it's a little chapel. It's funny, sometimes you have church, because Mel looks at books, some of which are from people, right into the 19th century even. And we think we find out things, but
It's only
We don't.
when you come here that you see it. Now look at the door that we just walked through.
That is gorgeous.
That is a medieval door.
Yes, that is most definitely.
And they've got unusual hinges because you've got oval links that are bounded.
That is, I've never seen one like that.
But look at the ring pull on there.
That is good, amazing, isn't it?
It is. And look at the big triangular scutcheon for the lock.
Let's have a look at that. That is one big triangular scutcheon for the lock.
Yeah.
Made by a local blacksmith.
It's just amazing.
It's gorgeous. Oh, hang on, there we go.
And if you look at the left-hand side of the door there, you'll see that there's a water stoop.
Left-hand side. Your left, not mine. Right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Water stoop.
Yeah. So you've got that. So that's where you would have done your genuflection.
That's lovely. I'm just going to have a look back at how wonky the walls are. I just think it's a little lumpy chapel.
Yeah.
Is this the Memorial Church, Mel? Tell me more. I
don't think it is. There's nothing to suggest that there's been a case nearby. But to be honest, a lot of churches are manorial in one way or another. But I've not found anything about any big families living nearby.
Got a funeral hatchment up there, look. Or is that's the arms, isn't it?
That's the arms.
Who we got?
It just says a small set of Georgian royal arms. Don't know who that is.
Which
So
one?
it's going to be George 1st, 2nd or 3rd.
Well, the last one was up to about 1830, wasn't it? The last George we had.
No, because George VI was
George
the Queen's
VI.
father.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I always forget that.
Was it George VII?
Must have been the 7th. George VI
George
was
VI.
the one who abdicated, wasn't he? That was Edward. Oh, God. Look at this. See what I know.
For God's sake.
I'll shut up.
We can't even get this right, can we?
No.
Right. Okay, now the pulpit has got 1619 written on it, and it's a Stuart pulpit.
That's beautiful. Let's have a look. I like how there's electric heaters under all the pews.
Yeah,
Nice brick floor. 1619.
So it's a pulpit apart from the base and the steps on that. But you can see that there's age to that, 1619.
Well, that's sort of, if we think 1620, that's the founding of the English settlement in America, isn't it? So it gives you an idea of how old that is.
Yeah. A Victorian window there.
Very Victorian.
Very extremely Victorian feel there.
Yeah. I always love the simplicity of this, but I love the simple roof.
Yeah. But most of the furnishings here are Victorian. Now I'm just going to get behind you because I want you to get out of there. So you're going to have to get off your butt.
Oh, that's all right.
Off your butt, bud. And I want you to go down to the font, which is 15th century.
That's behind me.
And it's got blank shields and Tudor roses in its panels. And there is a good lot of demi angels with crossed hands below the bowl.
The shields have been scuffed out, haven't they? But
well, they're blank shields. Now, it might be that there was never anything put on there in the first place.
that might be because we've worked out that a lot of fonts, because the stone isn't, well, like we keep saying, there isn't really much stone around here. They're manufactured somewhere, possibly Portland stone.
In one of his churches that he wrote about, stated that that was an East Anglian fault and probably been built on a factory basis. So it might well be that some stonemason had a load of these. They were building a church, they went and got one. So this could have been used for anything. Could have been for a manorial church, could have been for this church, could have been for anything. So they've got a little bit of everything on there. But it is a 15th century font.
It is. Look at the faces underneath. Like,
yeah.
You get the detail
that's
of
the
that.
angels under there. They've got crossed hands and they're below the bowl.
Oh, I tell you what, I don't know if I can get that close to this. Let's try a bit of, as we've said in previous videos, Mel's actually manufactured this this tripod, camera steady out of a rotary washing line. Got nothing to dry clothes on anymore, but oh my God, we do a lot of filming. Hang on, let's squeak back to where we were. Oh yeah. The fittings are actually from some drain rods. Right, but...
right, there are some 15th century bench ends.
Right, let's...
In the
chancel.
chancel.
It's up there. It's the end with the priests.
And it's got gas lights.
The paraffin, I think.
Doesn't really matter.
Oh no, they've been converted, but yeah, they were paraffin. They're electric now. You can see that. Oh yes, those bench ends are very old. Don't fall over.
But
oh, they've been filled in.
In one of them.
What, in a bench end? Right.
So we'll see if you can find it.
Ah, got him.
Okay.
Hang on, look at that. Look, we've even got that one. We've even got a little chapel. There's the lion minus his head, and some child has scratched in a face on top of it. I do love that. It just goes to the history of any church. You know, if that's the little house is there, and we've got something got its head stuck in a pot here. Look, I don't know what that is.
Right, that.
What is that?
That is a bear with his head in a honey pot.
God, I don't like.
And it's actually a modern carving, apparently.
Is it?
And that is a dragon that is licking from a cooking pot, and it's on his back. Ooh. Strange thing.
Well, I suppose what you find, isn't it? Mind you, that bear doesn't look much like the bears I know. Smaller than the average bear, boo-boo. Right.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
That is incredible.
And we've got a piscina there, I don't know if you caught that.
I did catch a piscina.
Yeah.
Let's go and have a look. We always like a piscina. Great British churches, because one of the things, a lot of these churches, obviously they weren't Anglican when they were built. So let's have a look.
There's a little story about William Dowsing here.
Oh yes.
Your favourite.
I'm going to show that down now.
Right. Now he came here in April 1643.
Yeah.
And he noted a crucifix and 3 other superstitious pictures, and gave order for Mr. Barrenby, the parson, to level the steps in the chancel.
Right.
He preaches but once a day, and this is one of Dowson's few snide remarks about the clergy. And it seems as though the vicar quietly got his own back by doing nothing about the steps.
Because obviously there'd have been some sort of partition between here and the nave. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
I'm getting good at this, aren't I? So up here we have the altar, and...
Well, you're actually in the sanctuary.
I'm in the sanctuary.
The sanctuary is the area around the altar. So you've got the communion rails, which are these.
Yeah.
And then that divides the chancel from the altar or the sanctuary.
So there we go. There is chancel arch. Not really much of an arch, is it? But
no, it's
there
not
weren't
really
much money here. And, you know, but there would have been some sort of divider screen or something, and down there. Let's have a count up down there. How many people that would sit? 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 at very most. Mm. And then it changed in Protestant times. They got rid of the altar and just had a table, and they swept it down into the church. So that...
Well, they got rid of the altar table and they were put in a pulpit.
Yes, which is, there
because
we go,
it's bringing the mass into the congregation. Before, you had the altar, which would be right up there, and I've said many times on videos, a church was built to protect the altar. So if the Catholicism got swept away, the altar table was no longer. They brought in a pulpit, and it meant that the priest or the vicar was now part of the congregation, instead of being separate, hidden behind a screen.
Behind a screen with all the bells and smells and ding-dongs.
There's not really a lot more about this church.
There isn't.
But there is something outside.
Right.
And it is a stone. We need to find it, and I don't know where it is. Does it still door open?
Yes, it was open. Yeah, there was the mesh outside. That was. I'm looking for these dials, but they're not there. Are they? Can you see? Let's have a look. Can we see the what they're called?
Scratch dials.
Scratch dials. I can't really see them unless they're hidden.
They might be hidden within the detail of that, but I would have thought with the Norman doorway, I wouldn't have had them.
No, well, I thought so, but
Who knows?
who knows? Let's head out.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely little
So
porch.
we're now looking for a headstone, and it's beautiful, and it faces away from.
Right. Beautiful purple lock there. Look at that. You see, security is taken seriously.
So on the way back to the gate, there is a stone from Eliza Westrup.
Okay. Shall I pause this while you look?
Might be a good idea.
Right, we'll be back. We've got to hurry up here because we are being eaten to death by insects here. And just to finalise on this film, down here to our on the side here is a headstone that's actually pointing away from the pathway behind it where people would have walked into the church. And it's in memory of Eliza Westrup, who died October the 23rd, 1840, aged 11 months. And you can't see it very well, but I've written it down, or Mel's written it down. Remember me as you pass by, though my father did me deny. Glad you were to hear the sound of the bell that passed me to the ground. If you were born as free from sin as I, you would not be afraid to die. As I am now, so must you be, therefore prepare to follow me. So, a headstone for a little girl, 11 months old, pointing away from the past, so the father didn't look at it.
Wouldn't be reminded of his neglect or not wanting to know a child.
Not to know a child. It's hard to think nowadays, isn't it?
It is.
You know, but born out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thank you very much for following us today on Great British Churches. If you like, please press the subscribe button and do all the usual things, all right? Until next time, bye-bye.